This is a very small pedal board using a Hotone Ampero Mini, a switcher to engage different effects, and a DI box which has a ground lift built in. Underneath, it's powered by a Biscuit power supply which provides all the power it needs. It's very neatly done, so I can just get to the venue, plug this in, and off I go. So I want to just talk about how I made it, how to build something like this if you're interested in that, and actually some of the uses that I found. The development was quite aleatoric. We started with a few pieces and the size of what we wanted to work with. We wanted the spacing and the pedals to be equal. We found a piece of mahogany and prepared it. The mahogany was known as sapele. We then designed the sections that the pedals will sink into and then began to saw them. So they were prepared using a bandsaw. So we got our sections just to the right size that we wanted before we started to saw them in a little bit more of in a bit more detail. There we can see my father-in-law doing it because I am terrible around sharp things and we're likely to lose a hand or a finger at least. We then used a scroll saw to do some slightly more detailed edging work. You can see there we just designed it using lines, and there was our first section of it. We then sandwiched it onto a piece of plywood, and then beyond that another piece that would go around the outskirts of the pedal board. That was to conceal the cabling. We put the holes in and prepared it to make it look nice and smooth, and then it was glued in using Gorilla Glue and loads of clamps. Following that, we did some final finishing by beveling the edges using a router. Then we varnished it to finish it, which was really nice. It's a really nice finish. Functionally, it works like this. So you can fit everything into one gig bag. This gig bag has one large pocket really for things like that. I've got my guitar stand. This currently is an adapted acoustic stand, but usually I use an electric one. Hercules are quite good with nitro finishes as well, so they're a good way to go. This is the effects unit. Now it has a special carry bag as well, which I'll show you in a minute about how that was made. And then inside there we've got the guitar. So the guitar can go straight in, have the strap put on, which I keep in the bag. The carry bag, by the way, holds the power supply and the effects unit. And as you can see, this is in real time. This has taken me 50 seconds so far to get each item out and ready. In the outer pocket, I've got my leads and my in-ear monitoring system there, so I keep those in as well. So to prepare the unit, what we have is a button protector just made out of a piece of foam, and that keeps everything safe. And then we have the power supply there that just goes into the Biscuit unit, which you can see just there, just goes in. And then that will plug in. The PA system, the sound engineer, who we tend to use the same sound engineer with one of my bands wherever we go for weddings and events, and they are amazing. And what they do is just they know how to dial our sound in, and I completely trust them as well. In the past, I've had some bad experiences with sound technicians who have taken my monitor mix away and things. That's when I really do need an amp. But in this case, I trust them, and they'll plug that in, and my mix will be great all night. So this is how to pack away. So it literally is the same thing in reverse order. This is going to take less than a minute to do. So we've just started doing it. I've got the unit's going to go in the bag. Power supply will go next to it. We're at 20 seconds, people, from when I've started. There we go. That will go in the case. Case will go down. Always get your guitars away first in my recommendations. So we're now at 47 seconds in. Normally I'll give my guitar a wipe down after a gig because it tends to get a bit sweaty. go. I have to roll the strap up. We're at 1 minute now from when I started packing away. Guitar zipped up. The only thing left is the guitar case. The guitar stand. Look at it go. So usually, there we go. It's in. It's zipped up. We're at 1 minute 30. 1.5 minutes to pack up. That's not too bad. One of the things I do with the guitar is I sometimes need a single coil sound. Well, I employ one of the tricks that I've seen the Pink guitar player do, Justin Derrico. And what he does is he uses a Tom Bukovac trick where you EQ your humbucker sound. You take out some of the lower end, take out a little bit of mid, but you boost some of the top end, and you get that single coil kind of tone whilst playing a guitar that you really like the feel of. So what I've managed to do is make patches on the Ampero that reflect this, so I can adapt between the two different kind of tones that I can get, and people seem to be really happy with that. What led me down this path originally was doing a show at the Jam House. I did 2 nights there quite recently. One of the problems I stumbled into was that the power supply for my Helix had gone faulty in the show, and I'd lost all of my effects loop and all my HX effects. Oh no! The only things I had on was a compressor that wasn't dialed in through there, and a fuzz face. Playing all the distorted parts with the fuzz face was actually killer, and I really enjoyed doing that. On the second night at the Jam House show, I decided to swap my rigs out and use my Hotone system. The people in the band didn't notice, and neither did anybody in the audience. I don't think anybody really cares what kind of effects I'm using. I think I'm the only person that does. And I'd managed to mirror a lot of the rig that I was using by using patches and then small adjustable pedals that I could switch on. In summary, I've changed the way I do things for some gigs, and it does take the fatigue out of coming home at night, working the next day and having everything ready that you need when you're de-rigging and rigging up. This is my tiny little pedal board. I absolutely love it. It's absolutely brilliant, and it's a beautiful thing. I'd like to thank Graham Miles, who's my father-in-law, who actually made this come to life. Andrea Stanley, my wife, for actually coming up with the concept and the idea of keeping all this together. And she also made this really cool bag and for it to go in. And yeah, we're now at a stage where I can rock up to places with one bag, do the show, bring it back in the house in the middle of the night, and it's hassle free. I still love amps, I still love having multiple things on stage, but this is great for those, like I say, guitar jobs really, where you're gigging and you've got some sounds, you've got a set list that you're used to, and you can just play through with that. So it's wonderful. There's a real joy in making something like this and owning something like this as well. If you look at it, it's a really nice piece. And, if you are handy with some tools, I thoroughly recommend you design your own and have a little play with it. And I'll be interested to see what people come up with. Because I think these sorts of things are another element and another aspect to enjoying guitars. So there we go. It'd be great if you could subscribe. That really helps the channel. And until next time, be excellent to each other.